It's time to predict round 10, the Sir Doug Nicholls round. We are going Indigenous. As you can see, I have my Swans Indigenous top on from last year, and it matches my face at the moment, slightly red because the UK has summer on its way, and I've been slightly caught out. Enjoy the predictions. We better start off with last week's result, and a lot of people were caught out. Only 6% of people got this right. 94% of people were wrong. Geelong lost to Richmond. Oh my God, I thought that was an absolute banker, and it was not. I did Geelong by 40. They lost by 24. What went on? I get nothing for that. That is really upsetting. Next up, West Coast versus Gold Coast. Well, I got it right. I didn't get the margin right at all, and a lot of people were very similar to me. Most people went for Gold Coast. Most people went for 0 to 30. No, West Coast were blown out of the water, and Gold Coast won by 70. So correct result, nowhere near the margins. Oh, I want to cry. I want to cry. The week that I decide not to pick Sydney will be the week they win, right? Sydney 86, Fremantle 103. And look, I was still in the minority that thought the Swans were going to win, 81%. But no, Swans fell apart again. We are so useless at the moment. Buddy didn't even score again. So I did Swans by 20. They actually lost by 17. Well done if you picked Fremantle, but I'm gutted, absolutely gutted. We need to get some form quickly. Next up, North versus Port. I was pretty confident. I did Port by 40, and I thought that was a really nice, large scoreline. No, they actually won by 70. That is some couple of big results straight away already. 97% went Port, so most people got it right. And a handful of people managed to get a close scoreline. So well done if you're one of them, but I get the point for the result. Next, I think this was a given. 2%, wow, 2% of people went for Hawthorn. That is awful. Who the hell went for Hawthorn? I did Melbourne by 60. Melbourne actually won by 54. So I was only 6 off. Get a point for result and a point for a close score. I think most people were, actually a lot of people did a closer scoreline looking at it. Anyway, next up. Brisbane versus Essendon. I did Essendon. No, I definitely didn't do Essendon. Essendon are falling apart a little bit now, actually. God, they were doing so well, and now they're down to 10th. They have had an absolute mare. Brisbane, I did by 30. They won by 42. Just in that percentage for the close scoreline. So I get 1 point for the result. And an extra half a point for a close scoreline. I will take that. I needed that. This was a surprise, this next one. I did Carlton by 6. I didn't think they would win by a lot. The Bulldogs are doing pretty well. They're doing all right. They're now up into 6th. But I thought Carlton would win. Carlton are sitting roughly where I sort of predict them, distinctively average. But I should have gone with Bulldogs. Unlucky. Gutted. Anyway, so I get nothing for that. Sunday came along, and it was Crows versus Saints. Saints are also going down. They are dropping. I did Crows by 10. I didn't think it would be a huge scoreline, but actually Crows won by 52. Absolutely punching it out of the park. Fair play to Crows. A fairly even one, that. I think that's possibly the closest prediction for scorelines. 52% for Crows, 48% for Saints. So a really close one, but Crows bossed it. Next, last game, we had Collingwood against Giants, and it was one-way traffic. I'm a little bit annoyed because I did Collingwood to win by 40. They won by 65. So I was just outside of that extra half a point, which I desperately need to get up that table. But let's see how everyone is doing. Ragnarok X is still top. However, I would love to pay attention to Godra. Godra got 9 out of 9 last week. He's got 8 out of 9 this week, and he has just gone bosh. up that table. So well done. But we've still got Jackson, Aussie TV, Azimus there as well, doing very, very well. Let's see who did the best this week. Oh, hang on, that's me. I'm down 1 place to 27th. I'm not doing awful. Up 23 places is Newman. 23 places, he gets, or she gets, the yellow hat. Well done. Let's have a look even further down. Who has got the wooden spoon? Jaden Saints 23. I reckon Jaden went for Saints to win this week, and he failed. He's only gone down 9 places. I think a lot of people now seem to be having fairly steady weeks. I got 6. Some are getting more, some are getting so less, but there's less movement now in the tables. So it's getting a little bit tough to make movement, and you really got to get the big 9 out of 9s, 8 out of 9s, which I'm still trying to get. Let's get predicting for this week. The first game of the week is at the Adelaide Oval, and it is 2 very much informed teams. Port Adelaide versus the D's. Oh, well, D's are favourites, apparently, according to the bookies. But it's at Adelaide. Adelaide are scoring well, but so are the D's. This is a very, very difficult one to pick, I think. I'm going to go with Port. They're at home, so they got the home advantage if you want to have a home advantage and you think that's a thing. But I just like how Port are playing at the moment. They are playing attacking. They're very strong at the moment. I don't think they would win by a lot. I'm going to do a Port win by 6, but that may be currently one of the toughest picks to do. Definitely this week, if not in all of previous weeks as well. A really, really difficult one. I'm going to go Port. Not favourites technically, but let's see how they do. Next up, Saturday. I can't go against the Swans, can I? I think this is the one time now I cannot go against the Swans. Sydney should be getting another 4 points here, and we should be up to, well, 13th to 10th at least. Swans are going to hit the ground running. We are at the Marvel. That doesn't matter. Swans are going to win because the North are awful. Swans are going to win by 60. That might be well overdoing it, but I've got to have confidence in my bloods. So North are going to do rubbish. Swans are going to win by 60. Oh, come on. Desperate. We're desperate. We need to make the top 8. We need to. And there's teams that are sliding. So we if we find form, we can do it. Anyway, Mars Stadium in Ballarat. They're going to Ballarat. Western Bulldogs versus Adelaide Crows. Both teams, once again, decent form. It's very, very difficult. But both teams on decent form. Bulldogs come off a decent win last week. Crows bossing it. Oh, Crows. Crows are playing well. I'm going to go Crows. They might not win, but you never know. I'm going to go Crows, a small margin. Crows by 6. The Adelaide teams are doing well at the moment. You got to give them credit. Crows. Then over to the Optus. Now, Fremantle, I was backing them, right? I was backing them. And they kept seeming to let me down. Where are they in the table at the moment? See, where are they? They're in 12th. But they do let me down quite often. Geelong have had a shocker last week in a game that they probably should have won. I don't see Geelong losing 2 games in a row. I'm going to go Geelong by 20. Not too high because this is at the Optus. Dockers are at home. I'm going to do Geelong by 20. I just can't see them losing 2 games in a row. Then over to the Gabba, Brisbane versus Gold Coast. Both used to the heat, so that won't be a problem. Brisbane are a strong team. It's interesting because Gold Coast seem to be able to beat the teams around them. That's the big thing with them, I think, and that's really, really helping them. Where are Gold Coast at the moment? Gold Coast in 11th. They do seem to be beating the teams around them. But Brisbane are on another level, aren't they? Brisbane, it's at the Gabba. Brisbane by 50. 50. Yeah, I think, that'll do. 50. At the MCG. First game of the MCG of the week. Essendon versus Richmond. Essendon are on the downfall. Maybe Richmond are on the up. A absolute huge win last week. Where does that put Richmond? So I'm looking all the time. Richmond up into 13th. I don't really think there's no home advantage here. Let's see if Richmond can continue their good vein of form. Richmond by 20. There you go. We're going to see if they can continue their form. Lots of pundits and predictors and things predicted Richmond to do well this year, and they have not done it. I don't think I did predict them to do very well, actually. But let's go with Richmond. University of Tasmania Stadium in Launceston. Hawthorn versus West Coast. Do you know what? I reckon the Tassies don't really care about Hawthorn anymore. They can bugger off. They want their own team now. They're ready for it. Hawthorn versus West Coast. It's tough because both teams are absolutely awful, right? Most teams are awful. And lots of people, when I've predicted against Hawthorn, when they've played in Launceston, people have been like, oh yeah, but they don't lose very often in Tasmania. A load of nonsense. I don't believe in those sort of stats necessarily, being able to predict what will happen this time. I'm going to have a shocker. We're going to have a shocker. This either fails or it's an epic win. I'm going to go West Coast by 10. I may go completely wrong, but you've got to be bold. You've got to be bold, make confident decisions. West Coast by 10. And then MCG again. Carlton versus Collingwood. I just don't see anyone really beating Collingwood at the moment, other than maybe the D's, Brisbane. I don't see anyone beating them. And Carlton, they're an average team, and Collingwood are playing really well. Collingwood by 40. Yeah, let's do 40. Why not, hey? And then the last game of the week is GWS versus Saints. GWS, I say this every week, GWS are a team that may turn up or may not turn up. Saints have been a team that did turn up and now are not turning up. So it's difficult. Obviously, GWS are at their home ground, but it's not like there's much of an advantage. They don't fill the stadium, do they? Not like us mighty Swans. Sort of. I'm going to go Saints. I think Saints are they're the favourites to win. They've got the stronger team. They've been playing better generally this season. I don't think it'll be huge. I'll do Saints by 15. So, Port by 6. Sydney are going to have a huge one this week. We're back in business by 60. Crows by 6. Cats by 20. Brisbane by 50. Richmond 20. West Coast 10. Collingwood 40. And Saints 15. There we have it. Let's see how we do. I really just want to break the top 10, but I need a 9 out of 9 this week. I don't know how I'm going to do. There are some difficult ones there. Make sure you keep following along. Let me know what you're doing, how you're doing in my table. No other table counts, so don't bother saying any other thing else. Super Brew's the way to go. Make sure you like and subscribe, and as always, I will catch you next time.